بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه أجمعين الرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, I would like to take you on a journey, a painful journey and a mournful journey to a place called Karbala. You could close your eyes and feel the hot sand under your feet. Feel the thirst on your lips and on your tongue. We know of what happened. We have been told year after year, but tonight, let us walk with our Master in his hardship. Let us be next to our Master and see that under a relentless burning sun, Hussein stood alone, the only one. In his grief, our beloved Hussein scans the field in disbelief. And as if hearing a call for a moment so brief, his blurred eyes turn towards homes that will burn. And his heart becomes heavy, filled with concern. The tents are getting closer. Does he know why? Nay, the events of today, heavy do they weigh. There's blood on his hands. Whose, he cannot say. All the loved ones he held to farewell and pray, the tents are getting closer, but his mind is away. Ali al-Akbar in pieces, a bloody bouquet. The moon of Bani Hashim, now a bloody display. And his companions are scattered all over the plain. The tents are getting closer. Does he know why? Nay, he cries for the fate of those led astray. He curses the ones who caused this decay, and his mind is on the blood that was shed on this day. And with his mind's eye closed, his feet lead the way to a tent in the heart of his camp. He stands at the door for a moment before he hears a soft pant. So he wipes his face and his hands become more damp than before. He braces himself, then walks through the door. The walk from the battle to the tent was a chore, but the sight that he saw made him pause a moment to recollect his thoughts. There are still duties to be done. I am still here for you, my infant son. His face is still damp. Blurred eyes see the women surrounding a lamp. The glow, though blinding, is fading rapidly till his vision is narrowed. He finds his son breathing raggedly. He moves towards Abdullah with the rest of his might, and he sits himself beside the cradle of light. What a sight! What a sight! To see our Imam with the problem yet solved, still plagued by visions of the story we're told. Visions flash before his eyes and voices whisper. A tear drops to the side. His face on Ali's lap as he teaches the scripture. Min mithli he hears, and Hussein's cheek is on mine. Abbas fights all in front of him. Ali al-Akbar protects him from behind. Habib lifts his head and tears flow from his eyes, and Abdullah grips his fingers as if to say, come close to me. His ragged little breath sings woefully. Hussein tells Hur, no, you are free. Then he sees Muslim ibn Awsaja talk to Habib as he lay on the battlefield, his soul about to leave. He points at Hussein so Habib can see, and Hussein in the tent reaches back with a blood-stained hand. Visions of Abbas who can barely stand. He sees Habib ibn Madahir arrive from his trek. The images begin to connect. Hassan beside him, he feels his effect. His father Ali, distant but in sight. He buries Fatima in the night and feels the lips of Muhammad on the back of his neck. And Abdullah's rasping voice like scratching a stone. Hussein holds Muhammad and Aoun as though they're his own, cleans the dust off their faces until they were bare, and saw John's eyes close from the wounds he did not know where. He runs a finger across the line of his hair, and his skin turns fair. The face of Al-Asghar, Al-Radi'a, was there, dying of thirst as Hussein helplessly stares, as his lips open and close like a fish when it's searching for air. Anyone who's held a baby in his arms, through instinct cradles to keep it from harm. Though his heart is alarmed, his face remains calm, and the baby's mouth opens and closes as if to speak to his Imam. My child, is it a question you wish to ask? Or do you wish to change what remains of my broken heart into more shattered glass? Are you cursing the ones who are guarding the river and won't let us pass? Or are you calling out for your uncle Abbas? His mouth opens and closes, eyes wide shut. He won't survive without water. He won't stay alive, halfway to death with his eyes wide shut. Don't say that he'll die. Lips are still moving, yet his eyes wide shut. Don't speak of his death. A pain goes through him worse than swords when they cut. My child speaks to me in silence. His presence here shows I came not intending on violence. I have lost my loved ones to vicious tyrants who wish to remove from this world all godly guidance. How can I help you, my child, when mine own are no longer seated at the table? You are about to reach death and you're still in the cradle. I'd give my life to you if only I was able, but I have no water. But I have no water. But I have no water. Abbas tried and found only a slaughter, and shied away from the tent and from Sukaina, my daughter. Abdullah's lips opened and closed as he laid there to die. It's as if in his silence gave the reply. Abbas was a warrior who shook the ground with his rage. But Abdullah was a child. Abdullah was nigh half a year of his age, a helpless babe who can speak no wrong for he's yet to learn speech, and his arms are too small for any sword he could reach. He can take no stand for his legs are too weak, a middle ground being unpolluted yet still, yes, no man born so evil that a child he'd kill. Hussein stands with this innocent child in his hands. The women rise with their eyes full of shock and surprise. Why? Tell us, Sayyidi, we don't understand. You mean to take a baby through these lands? You mean to walk him on these blood-soaked sands? And all began to cry. And Hussein, with a fearful eye on Abdullah, tells them, I have to try. I have to try. For without water he died. Rabab approaches, bring him back to me alive. Bring him back to me alive. And he leaves between the sobbing of children and the wailing of wives. On the way towards the enemy, Hussein covers Abdullah's eyes. Shaken is our master Hussein. He distracts himself from all those who are slain. There is Zuhair, there is Burayd, there is Salim, there is Hajjaj, there and all around the destruction led by the hatred. Akhi Abbas. Hussein peeks left, a body mutilated. He hides Abdullah's eyes from the playground of Satan. Akhi Abbas. The child's weight becomes heavy. It's not strength that he lacks. Akhi Abbas. Now they've broken my back. He remembers saying, and there lay the bodies of those who died while they were praying. Hussein looks at his baby and holds him to his heart. Their last moments together before they're torn apart. My son, he says with tears flowing, you'll be quenched soon, be strong and keep going. I'm sorry I won't be with you the days when you're growing, but you can't follow me where I am going. I'll always be here for you, sweet love of your father. And remember, Allah is the carer for the child of the martyr. And Hussein continued on this walk in haste, hurrying his feet so the water his son might taste. Almost there, child, Hussein reassured. And as he came closer, the enemies gathered their horde. Calls from commanders and battalions were formed. Be ready, one of them warned, as if by Hussein and the baby they were about to be swarmed. And Hussein arrives, broken and worn, and with tired eyes feeling pained and weak, he breaks the silence and begins to speak. People, people, oh people, fighting through the dryness of his tongue. People, oh people, as he shielded Abdullah from the scorching sun. If you fault the elders, then what fault can be placed on the young? The infantry let down their shields and lances, exchanged a few glances and gave a few answers. Give him water, give him not, let him live, let him rot. No man remained then still in his spot. Hussein watches as the soldiers debated and wondered how hearts can hold so much hatred. Abdullah's lips open and close. For the water he waited, half-opened eyes look up as it stated. His cloth loosens and his neck becomes naked. Hussein looks down at Abdullah and weakly he smiles, forgetting his opponents. For Abdullah's eyes are finally open. He forgets the world as his weak smile peers, and his eyes well up, about to shed tears. Abdullah's eyes open some more, and his father's eyes are the first thing he saw. Hussein holds him closer. There is nothing to fear. And the baby caresses his father's beard. A moment of peace as the world around them shatters. But they have each other, and nothing else matters. But the enemy before them hosts mankind's worst, and a beast called Karbala, may he forever be cursed, is called upon to end the people's quarrels, an order by a man with no morals. An order by a man with no religion to a man with no morals. Karbala sees the skin of the baby that's exposed. He readies his bow, knocks, marks, then draws the arrow loose. And time moves slow. A three-headed demon, ferocious and wild, pointing its nose at this innocent child. It tears through flesh with ease, All around freeze, and Hussein goes numb and feels not the heat in the breeze. Hussein goes numb and feels not the heat in the breeze. Words come to mind, like no, and please. No, and please. But his lips don't move, and he forgets how he breathes. He holds him close again, and cradles him back, and leans to the ground. From the Kawthar, the water was finally found. He takes his son's blood and he throws it to the clouds. Allah accepts your sacrifice, for not a drop came down. You led us to our Lord under the sun and the moon. So we repeat his words when we remember the doom. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلمون الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.